I don't know if you felt it in those early years, and it's all tied in with like your identity as a woman as well. Like the shock of becoming a mum and what that does to your sense of self. You know, you had this really clear idea. You were going to go back to your job and you love your job and it was in and out of London and like it was just going to be like that. And suddenly you have this baby and you're like, oh God, that might not work. Actually, everything, you can't be forewarned, but you feel differently about it. And actually then you're in this whole new world of motherhood and you're getting in touch with this new maternal side that you didn't really know was there, but you still kind of clinging on to elements of the old version of you. And that's where the kind of creativity and the play just has to come out, because otherwise you're just changing nappies and feeds and naps and you're kind of in this routine and you could just sink into it and turn on This Morning.
Yeah.
But if you have that kind of energy inside you, that you just have to get that out, and it's almost sort of railing against what's happened to you, that you suddenly have all this very different and new and quite overwhelming responsibility that practically is quite repetitive and mundane.
Yeah.
And you want something that feels exciting and feels like play. And
Completely.
I've spoken to a few mum friends of mine who are further along. Their children are a little bit older. I was one of the last to have kids. And they say now, actually, they look back and they just felt so frantic in that time. In all senses, they just felt like this massive impatience, this sense of urgency, whereas now their children are kind of older and starting big school and they're more independent. And they finally feel themselves kind of settling back to what feels a little more familiar as to the them that was before. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, completely. Those early, and because I was one of the first in my friendship group to have kids. I think there was one other friend who'd got them, but a lot of my friends didn't have them till about 7 years later. So a lot of their kids are much, much younger than ours. So they were still traveling the world, getting drunk every night. Well, not every night, but, 3 times a week. And I'm there going, I'm just changing nappies all day. And it did make me feel like me having my business. And I don't think I've ever been the sort of person that would just sit and put This Morning on. It just doesn't, I'm always sort of on the go. So I think you're very similar to me when I've listened to some of your podcasts, that there's that innate desire to create something, to build something, to do something, to get my brain working. So, I remember whenever with both of my babies, like when they were asleep, that kind of 2 hours, I should have been cleaning the house or watching This Morning or doing something else. But I was like, right, I'd straight away open my laptop and just be working. And that, I loved it. That was...
Probably should have been asleep.
Yeah,
they say sleep when the baby sleeps. And I was like, no, I work when the baby sleeps.
Yeah. I mean, even I remember sitting there breastfeeding, coming, especially with my second, because my business was then 2 years old and it was flying. I mean, my business was doing so well, which is, incredible when I look back at it. So, sitting there breastfeeding on my laptop, just coming up with new ideas. I was going to run this workshop and I'm going to do this and I've got mini sessions and just, I should have been sat there. Now I look back and think, why am I not just sat there watching binging Netflix instead? I was coming up with loads of new ideas, but it's just, that's what I felt like I wanted to be doing at the time.
Yeah. And I think I find that really liberating, because I think I've had the same thing where I feel bad that I'm not, because I know this time will pass so quickly, that I'm not absorbing it more and, settling in the moment and appreciating it, not being present enough, or all of that. But actually, we are who we are. And if we've got a spare moment, we do what we want to do with it or what we need to do with it. And if for me, that's, I feel overwhelmed, I'm just going to clean the whole house, then so be it. And if for me on that day, I just want to really get stuck into work, then so be it. Whatever you feel inclined to do is probably the right thing, but we can so easily beat ourselves up about it. And I think you have to accept that inevitably when they're older, you're going to look back and think, oh, did I? When they're gone, you also aren't too far from flying the nest.
No, I know, don't.
So when they're gone, you'll look back. I think it's inevitable, though. I don't think there's anything to do about it. We can only be who we are in the moment,